I'm just going to do a quick introduction. Welcome everybody here. Can you see my screen? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, here we go.
Yep.
My name is Cliff Greenfield. I'm the manager of the Pembina Valley Watershed District. The report, the feasibility studies and other reports are available on our website, as you see here, www.pvwd.ca. These reports are available for download. If you have any problem, you can call our office. We can print you a copy. We can mail you a copy. We can email you a copy, that sort of thing. I'd like to welcome Mark Lowden and Ian Halket from AE Tech Services. They're going to be our presenters today, and they completed the feasibility studies, and they've done other work for us in the past. We again have a 2-hour meeting. It will be recorded and put on YouTube. And what else can I tell you? The Tri-Lakes Development Group is basically sponsoring this activity. They've asked for these feasibility studies. This is really the next step in doing structural enhancement of the lakes. We've done some bathymetric studies, getting some facts on the lake, and now this feasibility study really looks at, can it be done? What is the cost benefit? What are the pros and cons of doing something like raising the lake to improve the lake? The Tri-Lakes group is made up of the municipalities around the lake, plus some other stakeholders. And on this page, you see the board members of the Tri-Lakes, and they also involve other stakeholders like the game and fish clubs, healthy lakes, etc. What activities have they done? Well, in '92, they were instrumental really in developing the Pelican Lake Stabilization Project. But since then, things have really stalled out, and we haven't done anything else but studies. So Pelican Lake action happened, and we haven't had too much action since then. But they're active, and they're pursuing improving the lakes, and that's why we're here today. Their goal is basically improve all the lakes in the region, the 3 lakes on the Pembina, Killarney Lake, and other lakes that the people care about. So with that, I'm going to stop sharing. And
Okay, sorry about that. Just skip through the first couple slides. So what I was basically saying is that we have, 20 staff. We do lots of environmental monitoring work. We do lots of fish salvages throughout the province, and actually we're doing lots of work out in BC and on pipeline projects as well. Fish passage design. Now this is one of the things that when I even, I worked at Fisheries and Oceans for about 5 years, and I really got interested in how to enhance fish and fish habitat. So we've been in some really cool projects in terms of enhancing passage and providing fish passage, because with culverts and with dams all over the place, it basically impedes fish movement, and it does have some significant impacts on the overall fish population. So we took it amongst themselves, and it's one of our key interests is to try to improve this passages and look at flows through culverts and things like that, and bypass fishways so yeah, these are just a couple of projects that we've worked on. Environmental monitoring. Our team does a lot of environmental monitoring pretty well from coast to coast across Canada. Lots of work with Trans-Canada Pipelines and CGL and construction projects as well, and it's all have to do with trying to protect the environment the best as possible. Fish surveys. We do community surveys. We have some really cool equipment. We could backpack shocking and boat electrofishing, and we have a huge array of different types of equipment to catch fish, to assess fish populations. And this is just a couple of slides of some of the fisheries enhancement work that we do. Humans, essentially, they go out, they you have this nice creek or whatever that might be there, and everyone wants to drain things faster and speed up the water off the land. And lots of these drains, these natural runways have been channelized and straightened, and the habitat within them has been altered and really degraded. So we've tried to, you know, go back and install these run, riffle, pool habitats and provide fish with a way to spawn, because if fish can't naturally spawn, or you're taking that away from them, obviously that's going to have detrimental impacts to the overall population. And not only that doesn't necessarily mean just walleye, but it's looking at the whole fish community, right? You need forage fish habitat as well as good spawning habitat for the predaceous fish as well. So we've done some tagging studies and things of that nature. Invasive species, unfortunately, is a problem in Manitoba. I was actually the first person to catch the rusty crayfish here in Falcon Lake. I think it was back in 2007. And we've done some major studies looking at how that species has had impacts to the overall fishery. Zebra mussels, everyone knows about zebra mussels. We're doing a lot of monitoring with Manitoba Hydro, all the way right up to basically to limestone. So all the way through the Nelson River system, Winnipeg River system, and the Assiniboine. And then common carp. There's going to be lots of discussion today on carp and what kind of impacts carp will have on different systems. We have about 4 or 5 agers that pretty well, all they do is age fish. We age fish for universities from coast to coast. With DFO, Fisheries and Oceans, we do lots of work from, and essentially in order to really understand the population, we need to know what kind of, you know, what the age of these fish are and the health of the fish. So we do that sort of stuff. Water quality, obviously, quality and quantity is very, very important when you're talking about environmental issues. The water quality is always changing. It's degrading. There's more nutrients going into the systems, more sediment and erosion control going in, which, you know, if you have high sediment loads, that could have some detrimental impacts on fish and the health of fish. So we do lots of water quality monitoring. And then we got into, I think it was in maybe 2013, we ended up expanding upon, instead of just doing environmental, we got into doing survey work, and we were trying to tie in our survey work with the fisheries work that we do. And so we're able to do topographic maps, flood protection, and bathymetry mapping, and lots of the information that you see here was into this feasibility study as well. And then hydrology. This is a picture of a river ray. It's a very expensive but very cool piece of equipment, and we could actually drag this piece of equipment back and forth over a waterway, and it counts, or it quantifies the speed of water. So it'll actually, you could figure out how much water is actually passing a given point. So then you could use this to, one, better understand the fish habitat that's out there, but you could also use it from a hydrological perspective and looking at flooding and the impact of flooding and changes of flow conditions. So it's a pretty interesting and cool piece of equipment that we have. And with, this is probably a good tie over, but Ian Halket, Ian's on the line here, and Ian could introduce himself, but I've been working with Ian for about 6 years, and he's a hydrologist. So I'll turn it over to Ian, hopefully that everyone could hear you and you could give a little bit of a background on your experience.
Good evening, all. I'm a hydrologist, as Mark has said. I've got over, it says there, 30 years of experience, but I think I've got over 40 years of experience in water resource projects across North America and also in South America. Most of my work has been in the north and a lot on the prairies. I have a PhD from the engineering department at the University of Manitoba, and my specialty is really water quality. My master's was hydrology, was how much water. Now, my PhD developed what's in the water. And I have, like I said, for 40 years, I've been involved in this business of consulting on water. I run my own company. I've been doing that for about 6 years now. I used to work for Golder Associates before that, in the oil sands area, working with not only oil sands mines, but BC Hydro on Site C, and a lot of mining operations all across Canada, from Teck Coal in the valley, in the Rocky Mountains, all the way across the Northwest Territories with the gold mining, with Gaucho Clay and places like that. And before that, I used to teach hydrology and water quality courses at Red River College in the Civil Engineering Technology Department. And for 10 years in the early 2000s, I served with the Clean Environment Commission, or on the Clean Environment Commission. If we go to the next slide, we're basically a surface water hydrology and hydraulics company. So we deal a lot with natural rivers, lakes, and basically doing how much water you've got, whether it's flooding or how little water you've got. We do a lot of drought studies too, and then also what's in the water. So we do a lot of water quality studies with that. And in order to help us with that type of study, which is usually you need them basically to assess a system, but also for environmental impact assessments, also looking at permitting requirements. So we work with a lot of different industries all the way across Western Canada, trying to help them either go through permitting requirements or doing assessments as they go through those permittings. And our basics, the basics of what we do is modeling, which is shown over here on the right, I guess, of the screen. And that is Southern Indian Lake. That lake is about 200 kilometers long. It's up in northern Manitoba. It's Manitoba's 4th largest lake. And basically what we do is we put together models to show how the lake works. This is just a still shot of a model. But and in order to do that, we run an office out of Vancouver that uses some pretty high-end computer facilities. And we share these facilities with about 9 other companies, 8 to 9 other companies. And basically we can model. We have a very, very good modeling crew, as you can see. This is the crew, a picture of it. And we have Hamad here, who's a PhD like me in engineering from the University of BC. We have Mario beside him, who's another engineer with a master's in engineering. Kyle Muirhead, who isn't seated there in that picture, is invaluable to our company because he does all our GIS work. And then we have Norm, who's a snow guy, ice guy, and Jie, who is an engineer in training. And we have a couple of others that have joined the firm since then. But this is a couple of years old, this photo. Anyway, moving on, I'll send it back to Mark. That gives you a little bit about us and what we do. And I'll give it back to you, Mark.